Alright, new review. Let me just check my cliched critic checklist. Mistake bad movie for well-known movie. It's John Carpenter's The Thing. I love John Carpenter. Oh no, it's some Canadian Super 8 film. What am I gonna do?
You are genuinely one of the most cynical people I've ever met. Which is saying something, because I'm you.
Well, Be Cynical is on the list, so...
There were some movies, terrible movies, movies so awful, no one would touch. Then came a Matthew, sad little Matthew. Matthew decided these movies to watch. For every good movie, there's at least 10 bad. Matthew gonna drag himself through the crap to find the worst ones there are to be had.
Today's episode, Things.
Hello, Internet. I'm called Matt, something you probably should have known by now. And this is Matt's Fun Time Bad Movie Show, something you definitely should know if you watched the opening. Another shameless plug to my friend James. If I keep doing it enough, maybe he'll forget I haven't paid him yet. And today we're talking about my first foreign film.
Yes, all my films to this point have been homegrown, but this one's from our neighbors to the north. Psst, Canada, send help. There are alt-right morons everywhere. Please, we need you. Things, apart from being the most lazily named film since The Happening, is a shot-on Super 8 gore-sploitation film from Canada. It was written by Andrew Jordan, who after this did nothing for 20 years until the other writer on this film, Barry J. Gillis, got him to be a producer on his next film, Wicked World. That looks appealing. Gillis also went on a 20-year hiatus, but actually did most of the work on Wicked World and has worked on other projects than just those two. Jordan and Gillis split the work here, with Jordan directing and Gillis starring in the project. No one else in this film went on to do anything else save one person, Amber Lynn.
Fun anecdote. When I watched this with my friends for the first time, we all agreed that Amber Lynn sounded really familiar. She's a porn star.
She has taken a few acting roles, but she's way more well-known for her adult roles, including Friday the 13th, A Nude Beginning. It's also abundantly clear they didn't have her for very long, as none of her scenes are on set, and it feels like she could have been dropped from the film entirely. Things seems to be a cult classic. I found out about it on Wikipedia's list of films considered to be the worst, but apart from there, I've found it on no other worst movies ever list, nor am I aware of anyone prominent referring to it as the worst movie ever.
One more amusing note before we begin. This is the only DVD in my collection where the title is printed up and down on the spine. Why aren't all movies like that? I hate having to turn my head and read all my titles. This should be how they all are. Things should not be the golden standard.
The cover also features The Glorious Lie, in full color. Yeah, about half the spectrum is missing. Not only are the Super 8 colors dull, but every scene is filmed either totally blue or totally red. The film opens on a nuclear explosion, killing off any remaining shred of decency on Earth. And then we get the ultra-lazy title.
Hey, we better come up with a title for our movie. Good point. What's it about? I don't know. Things? Dude.
Then this guy mentions his wife can't get pregnant, so he wants someone in a devil mask to have his kid. This is really confusing. Is it the devil, or is it actually supposed to be someone in a mask? Does this part actually happen, or was it all a dream? And more importantly, is it relevant to the story, or is it just an excuse to squeeze tits into the first 5 minutes of the film?
What garbage?
Well, what do you expect? They're Canadian.
Better not blow all my South Park movie references at once.
Hey, fun fact, Jordan and Gillis hired a prostitute to perform these nude scenes.
What? Filmmakers gotta do what a filmmaker's gotta do.
So the film really starts with this guy Doug bringing his wife some pills. And then the title again, to remind us of how lazy it is, I guess. Also, this is the same font as the Stranger Things logo. Just thought you should know.
Hi, and welcome to TV9 News. I'm Amber Lynn.
I'm Johnny Scott.
Yeah, really seems like those were filmed together. So Doug's brother Don, played by Barry Gillis, and his friend Fred show up at Doug's house to find a book and a tape recorder in the fridge.
Canada.
The book is about Aleister Crowley and the murders he committed, which I'm guessing would make for a short read, as Aleister Crowley has 0 confirmed kills.
How'd that movie start that you're always talking about? You know, that weird one with all those weird things?
You mean Evil Dead? The movie you're ripping off right now?
It started when they found a tape recorder down in the basement. They heard it on, and there's all these weird satanic cults chants on it.
Oh wait, they might actually be talking about Evil Dead.
So it's an homage, which is endearing, instead of blatant plagiarism.
Also, did they screw up a dubbed over line?
There's all these weird satanic cults chants on it.
And then they do that thing that old cartoons like Popeye used to do, where characters just kind of spout phrases that aren't really meant to be dialogue.
Kind of bored, looking for a cockroach snack. I can't see any of the delicious critters. Alright, oh look. Running water and everything up here. Yep. It is plastic.
What, did you think it was real? Yeah, just go back to drinking beer. That's the only thing you do convincingly in this film.
Why don't you put something on TV?
There's an idea.
They get the Bestiality Network up here.
Okay, we're done watching this scene.
A medical discovery by the world-renowned Dr. Lucas of Grizzly Flats. Scientists and surgeons alike are very excited.
Yeah, babe, keep looking at the cue cards. No one will even notice. Come on, Amber, you're supposed to be the closest thing to an actress in this movie.
Scientists all over the world are very happy with the discovery, and if...
Cut to, something? It looks like an autopsy of a burn victim, but they've got this pretending to be evil voice going on in the background the whole time. And then they cut off the guy's fleshy, unburnt hand, even though it was burnt at the beginning of this scene.
Oh, goresploitation. You don't need continuity as long as everything gets severed.
I really don't know what's happening this entire scene, and it never gets referenced again. So back to spouting pointless phrases.
Hey, where'd he steal his chair from?
And they did a great job keeping the white balance consistent between shots. We're 20 minutes into this film and there's still no story. I don't know why these characters are at Doug's house, I don't know who these random amateur butchers are, and I don't know why Amber Lynn randomly cuts in sometimes. And guess what? I never will. But there is a dog. I understand dogs. They find a cheap gore-fest film on TV and say it's stupid.
This is stupid.
Maybe you shouldn't remind us your film is garbage? I mean, there's self-deprecating humor, but the joke can't just be, this whole thing sucks.
The music really sets the tone of this scene. Just waiting for something to happen.
While you're at it, okay?
Fred Freako. I think I'm gonna have to go check on Susan, okay?
Poison, what? Oh, what's happening? Oh, it's just Alien.
Then the movie's monster is revealed. This disgusting ant thing. Unrelated news report about the Night of the Living Dead copyright dispute.
George Romero, director of such hits as Dawn of the Dead and Creepshow, is once again taking his copyright case to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Doug explains that he and his wife wanted to have a baby, but couldn't, so they had a doctor artificially inseminate her.
Something went wrong.
I'll say.
Shut up! You let this jerk experiment on Susan?
Yep, because artificial insemination and satanic experiments are the same thing.
Then Don says this reminds him of a story, and then tells a totally unrelated story of a bunch of bullies killing the weird kid in town, and then the kid turning into a demon snake.
What a story, Mark.
This is really no time for stories, Don. My wife's dead.
I was only trying to ease the tension.
Yeah, you really eased the tension. What, was this dubbed by the Dingo Pictures people?
Oops, I mean, what's Dingo Pictures? I'm not planning to review any of those.
Then they discuss leaving, but it's a 9-mile hike into town. Except they came here in a car. Why not take the car? They don't even pull the, oh, the car's broke cliche. They just forget the car exists.
Oh, give me a beer.
Hey, what happened? The lights went out.
Yep, definitely looks like the lights are out.
14 days have passed since Brooklyn residents Don Drake and Fred Lewis were last seen alive.
Wait, the fuck? So we've cut to 2 weeks later then? Or did they go missing before they got trapped at Doug's house? Guys, I know the Amber Lynn scenes were an obvious afterthought, but would it kill you to have at least had them in continuity with the rest of the film?
Where's Fred? I think he went into the third, fourth, and fifth dimension.
It looks like he got sucked into that mouse hole.
Were you planning on showing us Fred disappearing suddenly? No? I guess their friend Bruce wasn't available for most of filming, so they wrote him out of half of the movie? Also, Doug gets blood on his shirt and spends most of the movie topless.
I guess they just wanted to draw people in with his smoldering sex appeal.
That's pretty disgusting stuff you nailed on your basement door.
Our niece did that before we tortured and ate her.
Wait, what?
Our niece did that before we tortured and ate her.
One more time?
We tortured and ate her.
The fuck?
They continually suggest that Doug is into some weird satanic stuff. From the weird tape in the book about Aleister Crowley, to his dream about wanting the devil to have his children, to sacrificing his niece. But this is never given any sort of lip service. They just go on acting like Doug is not some type of satanic weirdo. But then the real tragedy strikes.
There ain't no beers, dumbbell. Everyone alive in this house knows that there ain't no beer.
You and Don are the only ones still alive, so that's clearly not true.
There's gotta be something around here to drink.
Yeah, I mean, it is Canada.
Well, Pilgrim. And some paper cups.
Yeah, come on, it's best to get plastered before fighting a demon.
Fred? He's dead. I know he's dead. I know he's dead.
Oh, joke's on you. Hey, did you hear that? You hear that? I didn't hear nothing at all. I just didn't want you to pour any whiskey on me.
There is a demon loose in your house. It has killed your wife and your friend. Do something!
Oh, they just stabbed the shit out of it. Then what the hell is the rest of this movie? Inane banter?
Please don't be inane banter. Okay, almost 15 minutes of no dialogue. Not what I wanted either. Is this like the monkey's paw where I get my wish, but only because something really bad happens? Or did you just want to prove that there was something worse than your dialogue?
They go down to the basement, and only now, halfway into the movie, do they reveal there's more than one of those things. I suppose I could have picked that up from the title, but then again, Cool Cat doesn't really save any kids. Birdemic, while shocking, was not terrifying, and you tell me how amazing the Bulk is.
Okay, he kinda is.
Wow, nailed it with these sound effects. And the same droning music. No stings or anything to signify a change in tone or even something of note happening.
Luckily, those other creatures are sleeping over there. Stop playing games with your head, Don.
Yeah, now go back to random dialogue now that you're talking to yourself. I'm scared, Dave. Will I dream? I honestly have no idea what he accomplished here.
And I mean the character and the director.
But since one of the things bit Doug's hand off, Don lights some cardboard on fire and cauterizes it.
Seems a little dangerous, honestly.
Oh, the blood is just dripping like maple syrup.
Ah, 'cause he's Canadian.
You're dead. You're dead.
Just thought you should know.
No way am I gonna let the creatures eat you alive.
They can't eat him alive if he's dead.
Then he finds a power drill, which is really only an effective weapon on creatures within the radius of that extension cord. Otherwise, it's just gonna unplug. Oh, which actually happens. And it makes him so mad he just gives up entirely on the drill. Then Doug is alive again, but I guess it's like in Evil Dead, where the Deadites pretend to be Ash's friends.
I'd get onto them for ripping off Evil Dead again, but I've seen their original stuff, and they should rip off Evil Dead more.
Like Frank coming back and killing the things with a chainsaw.
Groovy.
But again, it's electric. Extension cord limit. Then Amberlynn cuts back in with a report saying Don and Frank were surprised they were considered missing, even though they are still in the house and wouldn't know they were considered missing.
They ate Susan. They ate her to the skull.
And then they're going to eat me.
Can I just say, while they might be a bit grotesque, the ant things are kinda cute when they just sit there and wiggle around.
Don! Don! They're eating me! Get me the fuck out of here!
Oh, then they eat Frank alive. Then the sun comes up and Dr. Lucas, the guy who artificially inseminated Doug's wife with a demon, shows up and Don shows him around.
Oh God, what a horrible mess.
You don't sound very genuine. Almost like it's the same guy that dubbed Don doing a fake voice.
I nothing! The evidence is surrounding me and the weapon's right at the door.
I'm so happy about all this gore. Okay, seriously, no one at any point in this movie acts like a normal person. They act like footage was filmed with no clear intention, then tried to string it together without really thinking it all the way through. And, have you ever seen Kung Pao? That was almost all footage taken from a different movie, not being used the way it was intended, and still managed to flow logically. I mean, somewhat logically. It is a pretty goofy movie. Then I guess they eat Dr. Lucas and Don just runs away. Almost like that would have been better than trying to fight it out with these monsters.
You got yourself in a tailspin. Since you taken your life downtown.
But I do like the knockoff Beatles music.
So he gets in the car and the day is...
Are you sure this wasn't all a dream?
Oh, fuck you. Yeah, he's still in the cabin, and the movie ends. Why couldn't we have just ended at the other place? You have experienced things. Well, I can't deny that.
So that's Things, a gory, nonsensical mess. I enjoyed it.
The movie rides a very thin line, but for me it never crosses into unwatchable territory. It's just the right type of mess, and it's really endearing. Like 9 Minutes, it's clear the creators were just having some fun, and I enjoy most of it. There are some harder to sit through parts, and a decent amount of gore, so if you're not into that, I wouldn't recommend it, though if you've made it this far into the video, you'll probably be fine. Scenes and characters are introduced only to be completely dropped. It's clear this was filmed with no clear script in mind, and the audio is downright awful. With the right mindset, it's a fun trip, but I would absolutely understand if you said you couldn't stand this film. If this seems up your alley, don't let me discourage you. You'll probably like it. But if it feels bleak and uninteresting, maybe skip this one.
And if you do watch this film and get annoyed by it, you know who to blame.
Don't blame me for my son Stan. He saw the darn cartoon and now he's off to join the clan. And my boy Eric once had my picture on his shelf, but now when I see him, he tells me to fuck myself. Well, blame Canada! Blame Canada! It seems that everything's gone wrong since Canada came along. Blame Canada! Blame Canada!
They're not even a real country anyway.
You never told me you were a kindergarten artist.
Well, you never told me that you were an asshole either. I had to find out for myself.
Trust me, I hate the absence of the beard as much as you do.